What up, YouTube? Y'all ready? It is, what time is it? 8:13 Saturday, which is completely off than what I normally record it. Oh, y'all see my cup? I love mugs and I love Jack. Favorite movie, and I know everyone like that's my favorite movie too. If it's not your favorite movie, you sleep. Okay, it's like the Grinch it's a Halloween movie. Like every year, this is a movie night. And I found this cute little mug, and I absolutely adore it. So yeah, absolutely love that. But yeah, I'm recording this today because between real estate, being a mommy, and not feeling 100%, it was one of those weeks. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna make it. So yesterday, I literally like came home and rested for like the rest of the day. I was in the bed at like 4, just laying down because I just could not pull it together. And it wasn't, whenever people are like, oh, I'm not feeling good, they think it's COVID, but it's like, no. My stomach was not being my friend. And it's because I had a wedding the weekend before, right before the week started, and I ate like crap. And because my body's so used to eating more clean. Not saying that I eat clean every day, but I'm 90% of the time eating clean food. And so when you go like 4 straight days out of town eating crap that you normally don't eat, and then having like gourmet mall popcorn on a little stand, and I was in Orlando. Oh, absolutely. Every time I go to Orlando, I feel like I'm going home. So I miss Old Town. Never know when I can come back. You never know. And people like Orlando, like you love Orlando. I think I love Orlando because it's associated with where I built myself as an adult. Is where my husband and I first moved to. It's where I became a realtor. That's where I was singing I was on a praise team at my church. I was involved. I was becoming known in my community. It was the high point for me. And there's more high points to come. I know nothing with that. It's just, that's why I love Orlando. Like, I don't need a GPS when I go to Orlando. I know where shit at. I'm back in my hometown and I use GPS all the time. So yeah, Orlando just feels like home. Oh, that's so good. Yesterday I thought my coffee maker was going bad, but it was actually my the milk, but the date wasn't even expired. So I was upset. Okay? But yeah, I'm just ready to get into the pod. And let's get it. Let me at least prepare, be on the right darn page for when we start. We are almost done with this book, y'all. I think it's one more episode left for this particular book. Excuse me. Let me put this back on. Do not disturb, baby. Because everybody love to contact you when I start recording. Sorry, I got distracted. Oh, while I'm on YouTube, did y'all listen to Drink Champs with B2K on it? They sounded I felt like, and I don't know if it's true, but the more that I was listening to it, I felt like Nora was kind of disconnected and was trying to like, y'all look childish as heck. And y'all egos is like killing the vibe. And I don't know, it's just a conversation. Like the reasons between Omarion and them and the beef and that, it just sounds so lame to me. I just felt like they need therapy. Somebody send in a better link the betterhelp.com/crewlove link. That whole group need therapy. But I also feel like they need each other in a sense. Whether we want a B2K album or not, I feel like at the time when they were popping, if they would have just held it together, they could have been like New Edition or not New Edition. Let me take that back. That's too much. They could have been something. They could have been something because I just remember how huge that was. And if they would have cultivated, everybody would have stayed in a lane and played their part, it would have been fine. But I don't know, listen to the Drink Champs episode. Y'all come to your own conclusion. But I felt like listening to it, it just sound very childish and very immature, as to say. But enough about that, because you didn't come out here for me to discuss other podcasts. This is not a review. This is the book club. But I do like talk about relatable topics. Now, politics I would not talk to you about. That's one thing. But like little fun, quirky stuff like that, I'll talk about on here on YouTube, not on the podcast. That's why I think it's important to come to the YouTube channel, because you might get information and discussions that I'm not going to talk about on the pod. All right? So let's get into it. Microphone is connected. Book is in hand. And outline is in check. And coffee is in view. Right here. Okay, before I even start recording, let me take another sip. I just love my cup. She got a price tag on it. You take that off. That's like having price tags on the bottom of your shoes. What up, crew? What's good? It's your girl Sade, and it is time for another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Are you ready? I'm recording right now. It is Saturday, and it's like 8 something in the morning, and it is not my normal scheduled recording time. But baby, the show do not stop. And you probably like, oh, you don't record the morning of? No, because I gotta edit if I need to and put everything together. I'm a one-man band. I'm a dual entrepreneur. I'm in real estate. I don't even know what. I'm a podcaster. I'm a mama. I'm a this. I'm a that. And at the same time, it just gives me the opportunity to work on my time management. But like I was telling YouTube before I even got on the mic, that I was not feeling good this week. And it made me realize, even with my husband, he was like, you need to sit down somewhere. So yesterday, I literally picked my daughter up from school, came home. It was in the bed like by 3:30, 4 o'clock. Yeah, I didn't eat till probably like 7:30, and I literally had my daughter warm my food up and come back upstairs to give it to me because I was just sick. And it was like my stomach was turning. I felt nauseous, or I felt like a gaping feeling in my tummy. And I thought it was from eating not so well at that previous weekend for a wedding, because I eat mostly clean. But also, I think just running around and your body will shut you down. And I had to listen to my body. So I rested, and now I'm up and ready to go. I'm feeling a little better, progressively better than what I felt the past few days. But you know what? Like I say all the time, God gives me the strength to come on this pod and record for you guys so you can have an episode for Monday. Yes, and if you go to the YouTube link to watch the video, you'll see my new cup with Jack. It's super cute. I brought it the other day, and if you know me, I think that's just a childhood thing. Watching The Nightmare Before Christmas around Halloween time, and I found this beautiful mug. It's like him in a coffin, and it's super cute. I'm going to try to post it on our social media pages as well so you can see it. But I absolutely love this mug. I'm definitely the person who has a mug for Halloween for the season, and a person who has a mug for Christmas. Like, I'm that person. And I think I have the same mug for Christmas that I have for like the past 7 years. And so this mug with Jack on it is going to be like my go-to Halloween mug. But anyway, I don't even remember if I said it because I was rambling with y'all this today. So what up, crew? What's good? Let's get into Back It Up. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? If you're feeling good, feeling great, hey, keep that same energy. And if you like, girl, today ain't the day, you already in tried, or they need to give you a moment. By the time you listen to this podcast, I hope you feeling a lot better and ready to take over the world. All right, so you already know we're going to get into the first segment of the show, and it is Who Gon Check Me Boo? God is, and he is always checking us because it keeps us in check. So we welcome those checks because Lord God knows we need the guidance. All right, so this is perfect timing for this episode. I was reading the Devotional from the Bible app, Break Free from Comparison by Anna Light. It's day 2 on what is comparison. It said in the link, it said comparison is a form of manifestation of insecurity. It comes from lack of identity, lack of purpose, lack of confidence in who we are in life and we have been given. Woo. I think if you're a person who say, I've never compared myself to anything or anybody, I don't do that, you're lying. We've all done it, whether it's with a family or a friend or someone we see on TV or whatnot. We have always been in a place of comparison, and society doesn't make it any easier because we used to be able to just see and compare what we see every day and locally in whether you're in school and at work, but now you have social media where it's comparison everywhere. And it's just like that can manifest so much insecurity, and that's why certain things and being so locked in on TV shows or whatever can be dangerous, which makes you have insecurity and it makes you feel like you're lacking. And this just checked me and was just like, I'm gonna just continue to focus on me, and the only person I can compare myself to is myself. And the scripture came from the one that really stood out for me, because they give you several scriptures on those Bible apps, is 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 5 through 8. It says, in view of all of this, make every effort to respond to God's promises. Supplement your faith with the generous provisions of moral excellence, and moral excellence with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with patient endurance, and patient endurance with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love for everyone. The more you grow like this, the more productive and useful you will be in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And this is my takeaway. Nothing about comparing, and that statement is all about self. Okay? It's self-control for you to have patience and endurance, and your patience and endurance with your godliness. And that will allow you to love everyone. Instead of comparing yourself to everyone, it would allow you to love everyone. So it's like focus on God's promise for you. And that's a way of being selfish for you. Like, I want to be selfish because that root word is self, about my self-control, my relationship with Christ. So I'm not looking at nobody to compare to. That way, I'm not lacking identity and nothing else because I'm focused on me and what God has for me. I don't have time to compare myself to nobody. Because my journey is going to be different from everybody else's journey, just as my relationship with Christ is different from your relationship with Christ. So stop comparing yourself to other people. And also, this just hit me too. Like, if somebody tell you, that ain't going to work, that didn't work for me, I tried it this way and it didn't work, okay. Do you know the God that I serve? Like, in my relationship with him, he might have it work out different for me than it did for you. So, and that's where when you're connected with Christ and when you're in his presence, you can know, ain't nothing nobody can tell me about nothing because God told me. So yeah, that was a Who Gon Check Me Boo. What is comparison? And it came from the Bible app, Break Free from Comparison by Anna Light. That entire series, I think it's 7 days, was just really, really good. So check that out. All right. And let's get into some crew love. Yes. Thanks for all the crew love that you guys have been sharing and locking in on our social medias. We're on Instagram. We're on Fanbase. We have the YouTube channel. And the cool thing about the YouTube channel, like you can see the episodes full, live, none edited. And a lot of times before I get on the mic, I'm talking to the YouTube audience about things. One of the topics we talked about is the B2K interview on Drink Champs. I don't know if you watched it, but check that out on the YouTube channel. You can get a quick little intimate moment, and you also get to see my new coffee mug. So yeah, check out the YouTube channel as well. But thank you for all the crew love. Remember, if you're on Apple, write a review so I can share it on the pod. And also on Spotify, give your girls 5 stars, all right? And follow us on all our social media platforms. So thank you so much for all the crew love. And I want to get into the book, so I'm not taking up all your Monday because I want you to go take over the world, all right? Listen, let me tell you something. If you're listening to the podcast while you have the book, hella dope. That is so cool to me. And if not, I love how you're taking it in. But yeah, I'll say it. Turn to page 122. We're starting off at the guidepost number 6, cultivating creativity and letting go of comparison. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Comparison is all about conformity and competition. She says here, the comparison mandate becomes this crushing paradox of fit in and stand out. It's not cultivate self-acceptance, belonging, and authenticity. It's be just like everyone else, but better. It's easy to see how difficult it is to make time for important things such as creativity, gratitude, joy, and authenticity when we're spending enormous amount of energy conforming and competing. Theodore Roosevelt says it best: comparison is the thief of joy. I can't tell you how many times I'm feeling so good about myself and my life and my family, and then in a split second it's gone because I consciously or unconsciously start comparing myself to other people. And this is where you need to take a break. And this is where recognizing when it's happening and what you're doing or watching or seeing in that moment for you to stop the comparison. All right? I know a few people who take social media breaks because they recognize that they're comparing themselves and it's pulling them into this dark rabbit hole. Or even that can happen watching certain television shows. I'm a Real Housewife watcher. But if you're a person who's struggling financially and wishing that you were living that type of lifestyle, and after you watch that show, it kind of brings you down and you're looking like, oh, I need that, and you're no longer in that place of contentment after watching shows like that because they're living these lavish lifestyles, maybe that's a show you shouldn't be watching until you can watch for pure entertainment. All right? So, we are all creative at some point, and I feel like we were most creative when we were kids. Like, I feel like we were all creative geniuses. And as we become adults, you hear more people saying, I'm not the creative type. And she touched bases on this as well. She says, as far as my own story, the older I got, the less value I put on creativity and the less time I spend creating. I am not the creative person, quote unquote, she would say. She says she would think of it like, who has time for painting and scrapbooking and photography when the real work of achieving and accomplishments needs to be done? But it came to a point where I thought of creating for the sake of creating as a self-indulgence at best and flaky at worst. As I look back with my new eyes, I've learned about creativity from a world of wholehearted living and loving. It's so crazy because I think it was Pastor Michael Todd. He was talking about being at rest. And sometimes being at rest you can think of the most creative things, and because your mind is being renewed in the moment and you're being at rest. So because a lot of times we feel like we need to be working, and I'll be honest, a lot of my best ideas come in my sleep, when I'm in the shower, or when I'm at play. I'm dead serious. Because if I'm so honed in and focused on just work, I'm thinking about the project that I'm doing right now, and I'm not thinking beyond that. So she says she has these key points that she thought of being more creative and living a wholehearted life. She says, I'm not very creative doesn't work. There's no such thing as creative people and non-creative people. There are only one people who use their creativity and people who don't. So don't think you're not creative. You are creative. You're just choosing not to be creative. We all picked up color pencils and markers. We all did this before. And I think that goes back to having to become more childlike in our mindsets. And people are like, well, I'm not a kid anymore. You are a kid. Jesus is a kid. You're God's kid. Okay? And even in the Bible, it says to be more childlike. All right? Here, the second one, the only unique contribution that we will ever make in this world is born of our creativity. No one brain creatively works the same as yours. You might be inspired by other people's work, but your creativity is your creativity. She says on number 3, if you want to make meaning, we need to make art. That can be cook, write, draw, doodle, paint, scrapbook, take pictures, collages, knit, rebuild an engine, sculpt, dance, decorate, act, sing. It doesn't matter as long as we're creating, we're cultivating meaning. I really am into photography, and I have a camera, and I was just thinking the other day after reading this, one moment. I was just thinking the other day after reviewing this outline for this episode, like, man, I have this really cool camera and I have this really cool eye. I look at everything differently. I need to photograph these things, and I need to make that part of my schedule to play more and to be more creative. Doing the podcast and things allow me to be creative at some points, but it's also, at the end of the day, work that I enjoy doing compared to what I do in real estate all the time. But I also always trying to find a way to be creative, whether it's through marketing or the event that's coming up, but also finding something outside of that. And I think photography is going to be my thing coming soon. All right. So those were some ways to how we should view being creative so we can be more wholehearted living and loving. All right. She says here about creativity. Creativity, which is the expression of our originality, helps us stay mindful of what we bring to the world, is completely original and cannot be compared. And without comparison, concepts like ahead or behind or best or worse lose their meaning. So just like we talked about in Who Gon Check Me Boo, about comparison being the form of manifestation of insecurity, lack of identity. Ooh, that totally ties into the concept of being ahead and behind or best or worse can all lose their meaning when we stop comparing. Ooh, that was so good. Like, just doing that one thing alone can set you apart and blow your mind. So good. So that was guidepost 6, cultivating creativity and letting go of comparison. Let's get into guidepost 7, cultivating play and rest. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and a productivity as self-worth. This is so good. It's like, as a society, we praise, go get it, she get it. And if I'm up here being productive and I'm making millions and all of that, that's what self-worth is. But it's really not. Because there's plenty of people who get to that point and still have no self-worth. They're still committing suicide. So let's today start letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol. Like, I don't pride myself on walking around, oh, I'm so tired, I had all this work to do, I got all this work to do. I don't want to pride myself on that. I want to pride myself on, oh, I had fun today. I did you know what I'm saying? Like, I had an amazing time playing, and I was rested enough to do what I need to do to be productive, to go and play more. Okay? So let's talk about, when was the last time you played? Like, when was the last time you did arts and crafts, played a sport just for fun, not fitness? Okay? Like, I remember being a kid just going to the park and playing basketball. Even though I wasn't the best at it, it was just fun. Or remember we used to do racing. We used to race down the block with some people did it with their shoes off. But I didn't. Or riding bikes. I remember being a kid, we had a bike club. We were called road runners. Oh my gosh. And my grandmother had this porch, and we used to all come in there. And I remember when Little Rascals was a thing, and I used to try to be like the Little Rascals, but with bikes. And I had a green Huffy. And Huffy, I think, when I was a kid, was like the bike to have. And I had the helmet to match. And even though I got picked on for wearing a helmet. But it was just, we were doing things and being active, but we wasn't even realizing we were being quote unquote active. Now as an adult, we call it working out. Oh, my workout is playing golf, or my workout is playing basketball, or my workout. But no, like, just having a good time. Think about those times at Thanksgiving. I don't know if your uncles or anybody do it, but you ever watch those movies and after they eat or whatever, they're playing football in the field or they're doing things like that? Like, let's get back to that. You know, like, just having fun just for the fun of it without purpose. Because research by Dr. Stewart says on page 128 through 129, it says, Dr. Stuart Brown, author of Play, How It Shapes the Brain, Opens the Imagination, and Invigorates the Soul. Drawing on his own research, as well as the latest advances in biology, psychology, and neurology, Brown explains that play shapes our brain, helps us foster empathy, helps us navigate complex social groups, and as a core of creativity and innovation. Understand that play is the essential to our health and functioning as rest. In today's culture, where our self-worth is tied to our net worth, and we base our worthiness on our level of productivity, spending time doing purposeless activities is rare. Think about that. That part where he says helps us foster empathy, helps us navigate complex social groups, and is a core of creativity innovation. This makes me think of why recess with kids at school is so important. Like, I know people are really big on homeschool, but look at what this does for our soul. Ooh, that was so good. It says also, we got the getter done. It doesn't matter if your job is running a multi-million-dollar company, raising a family, creating art, or finishing school. We've got to keep our noses to the grindstone and work. There's no time to play around. We need to get rid of that mindset. Brown argues that play is not an option. In fact, he writes, the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. He explains, respecting our biological program need for play can transform work. It can bring back excitement and newness to our job. Play helps us deal with difficulties, provide a sense of expansiveness, promotes mastery of our craft, and is an essential part of the creative process. I don't know what country is trying this, where they're starting 4-day weeks, but even during the pandemic, people noticed when people worked at home and had more freedom and didn't have that hovering boss in that environment, people were more productive. Or some people, the people that were struggling with productivity were more productive. It's like, you can see how important it's essential to play, because if I have enough time to play and recharge, then I will have the motivation to get back to work and be motivated and excited to be in my work environment, to bring a newness to it. And even with me, a lot of times if I'm struggling with something, I'd rather just walk away rest and come back to it with a renewed mind and new eyes. So that was really good. So listen, y'all, play is not like we gotta play. We gotta play and rest. Also, it says, if we want to live a wholehearted life, we have to become intentional about cultivating sleep and play, and about letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. We got to let that go. And when it says intentional about cultivating sleep and play, I have to do a better job at that, because I don't want to be sleeping 3:30 in the afternoon and have to re-rest the whole entire day. Like, I don't want to have my body force me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Force me to sit down. I do definitely try to, 9:30, I'm not talking to nobody on the phone. I'm in the bed unless it's my husband. And I definitely have gotten better at not watching TV in my bed, where if I'm in my bed and I even try to turn on TV, my body has been trained to go to sleep. And I had to do that for a while. I think I took the TV out my room for like 2 weeks. And now my body, even with the TV being back in there, my body has gotten used to associating the environment of my bed as a place of sleep. So time I get in there, even when I try to turn it on, I'm knocking out. And we talked about that in Atomic Habits. Curating your environment, same as cultivating your environment, being intentional. If you have a space of work, only work in that space. Your couch, only sit on the couch, be with the family, watch TV in that space. The dinner table, this is where we eat dinner. We don't work at this table. So establishing those things, but you have to cultivate sleep and play, like the book says, and let go of exhaustion as a status symbol. All right? So listen to this story about the author on page 131 through 132. And it's about her and her husband. She said, Steve and I sat down in 2008 and made a practical list of the things that make our family work. When things are going, they ask themselves this question: when things are going really well in our family, what does that look like? And I want you to write that down. When things are going on in your family, what does that really look like? Their answers were sleep, workout, healthy food, cooking, time off, weekends away, going to church, being present with kids, a sense of control over our money, meaningful work that doesn't consume us, time to pedal, time with family, close friends, alone time, and time just hanging out. These were and are our ingredients of joy and meaning. Okay, so they also had a dream list. And when they started it a couple of years ago, and everything on the dream list was accomplishments or acquisitions, like a house with more bedrooms, a trip, personal salary goals, professional endeavors, and so forth. Everything required that they make more money and spend more money. She says when they compared their dream list to their joy and meaningful list, we realized that merely letting go of the list of things we want to accomplish and acquire, we will actually be living our dream, not striving to make it happen in the future, but living in it right now. The things we were working toward did nothing in terms of making our life fuller. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And this is why reading these books is so important. And I understand the point of like really the gratitude of it all. Because I'm sitting in my now, in my reality, and I don't want to focus on my future of what I want to acquire so much. Like, do I really need a bigger house? Do I really need a nicer car? Are those things really going to make my life fuller? Is it really going to bring me more joy and more meaningfulness to my life? And it's like, okay, no. I like those things, don't get me wrong, but it makes me go back and think about when we read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It was like, the things that I want to stress about the things that I really want to stress about. I would rather stress about what me and my daughter are going to play this weekend than what deals I need to close. And don't get me wrong, the association of, yes, we need money, we need to work, but it's also like, are we doing work that's joyful and meaningful to our lives to be able to do the other things that we can really consider joyful and meaningful? Because of course, family over work is important, but then you have to work to be able to provide for your family. But what are you not providing in the aspect of time and intimacy with your family for the work? Ooh, right? It's like, yeah, I do want to take my family on a yacht vacation one day. But if I'm working too far ahead of that and not realizing like my child is not going to be 8 years old this whole time? What if she has her own family and can't come to the yacht vacation? Did I miss out on this time right now because I'm working so hard to get to where I'm going and not appreciating my reality as it is? So really think about that, y'all. So that's why it's so important to really schedule that rest and play now and appreciate where we're at today and not get so far ahead in the future where we get to that point of regret. Because I read like a lot of successful people who die, they end up regretting working so hard but not enjoying their kids. So yeah, that was really good. So understand this though, on page one, So I went back. So they became more intentional with their family joy and meaning. And they even had their kids make more changes. And this really made me think about my daughter. They limited extracurricular activities to help their kids choose what's more meaningful when it came to sports, extracurriculum, and other activities. I think a lot of times parents be pushing their kids to do a whole bunch of stuff. And it's just like, is that really what they want to do? Or is that really what you want to do? And also, I like how they insisted that their school goals included as many dances as it did AP courses. Like that balance is so important, especially not just with kids, but with us as adults. Like as much as that play hard, if I work hard, play hard, but not getting stupid wasted and all of that. I'm talking about if I work intentionally and play hard. Like I'll be intentionally because I don't want to work hard. I want to work smart and I want to be more intentional. And I was just having a conversation about with some other realtors. And it's like, yeah, I could be out here networking with a whole bunch of people that don't like me, or I could invest in people I know who like me, cultivate those relationships, and I be their go-to realtor and being more intentional with who I spend my time with. Like, I don't want to be hanging around people that I really don't like begging for their work. No, I'd rather be with people I know who like me and who are genuinely invested in me. So yeah, I really love that. And I do struggle sometimes with like, is my daughter doing enough? But whenever I ask her anything, she's happy. And that is what matters the most. She's happy. So, yeah, this is really good. And I like how she talks about, what if we're normal and quiet and happy? Does that count? Like, it's okay to not, I guess I'm saying like, it's okay if I never take my family on a yacht trip. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody don't get that opportunity to do that. And it's normal, but is that really going to change the love that I have for my kids or the love they have for me? No. And she says, I guess the answer to this only is yes, if it counts to us. What's important to us? So you have to think what's important to your family. And that is what matters the most. Not about comparing yourself to other families. Oh, this family vacations in Vermont and go skiing in Montana. Like, no. What works for your family and your budget? Because there's no point of being in debt trying to keep up with the Joneses and genuinely you're not living a whole life, a wholehearted life. So yeah, if it matters to us what other people think or say or value, then it's back to exhaustion and producing for self-worth. Today, I choose to play and rest. So what are you going to choose today? Are you going to choose to go out and be exhausted, killing yourself to be living a lifestyle? You could. Or do you become more intentionally with the work that you do to have a joyful and more meaningful life and then be more intentional with your relationship with your family and kids, and realizing like that's what's really important. And I'm not saying that working hard is not important. I'm just saying not doing work for the money. If you're doing work that's intentional and what God will is for you, and that's purpose and passion, you're not going to regret that. Okay? I don't think so. I don't think, if I'm doing God's will and if I'm doing my purpose and I don't get the yacht or the private jet, I think I'll be fine. Honestly, I think I will be fine. Do I want those things? Of course. But if I'm willing to exhaust myself and kill myself over that, no. Am I willing to miss out on being a present mom for a bag? No, I'm not. And in my mind, it's a struggle because it's just like, what if I'm wrong? What if society? But no, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's wrong. You can agree to disagree. But I honestly feel like the God that I serve wants me to have all the riches in the world, and he wants me to own the yacht, and he wants me to have the jet. I'm just saying I'd rather do it God's way than society's way. That's all I'm saying. That's really what I'm saying. Because girl, I don't want you thinking that I don't want the bag. That is not the case. Your girl wants the bag. I just don't want the bag how society wants to give me the bag. That's all I'm saying. All right, so let's get into the challenge of the week. Get creative. On page 124, we talked about, you can be creative by cooking. You can be creative by writing, drawing, knitting, working on your car, dancing, decorating, whatever it is to create. This week, I want you to be creative. You are the artist of your life. Cultivate that ish, okay? We are the artists of our lives, and I want us to go out and be more creative. Whatever that is, whatever you enjoy, whatever brings and fuels the creativity in your gut, I want you to do that this week. So that's your challenge of the week. Go out and be creative. Play, okay? All right, just remember, we do have our relationship with BetterHelp, who is the sponsor of this episode. So do not forget that you can definitely sign up with therapy. You get 10% off your first month of therapy if you go to betterhelp.com/crewlove. That is something that I definitely use. And also, I went to one of the things that I discussed in therapy is my business and my productivity and why I feel like I don't have it all and yada, yada, yada. And she was like, it came down to what I was comparing my life to. Because I actually have everything that I need. I actually have more than what I had a few years ago. And I needed to appreciate and stop comparing to where I'm trying to go. And I came to that revelation through therapy as well, not just reading books. I had to self-reflect. So therapy definitely allows you to do that. So go to betterhelp.com/crewlove, or you can go to the show notes as well. The link is there in the bio, and you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. All right. Also, this book can be found on Audible. And because I be giving that Crew Love, you could get a free 30-day experience with Audible at the Crew Book Club. You can go to audible.com. The promo code is CrewLove, but also there's a link in the show notes to get your 30-day experience on Audible. They have wellness programs, theatrical programs, comedy Audible. I didn't realize they had that much, so definitely check that out. And so before we go, we definitely have to do What Would the Crew Do in Quote of the Week. So for What Would the Crew Do, it was a simple question, but very complex for me. And it was, I've seen you celebrate your 12th year of marriage. What would be your best marriage advice? So my best marriage advice would be put God first. I used to tell people, pick your battles wisely. And that was cool. And I think putting God first is the best advice. Both of you. And together. like I've said, I think for my husband and I, we both believe in God, but I feel like we was chasing God on our own terms, and we were not in alignment. And I felt like if God's speaking to you and saying something, he would definitely speak to me where we can be in agreements and alignment as one. And if we're not both chasing Christ together as a unit, then of course you're going to be on different spectrums, because you're going to feel like God is telling you one thing and they're going to feel like God is telling them one thing. So my best marriage advice is to put God first, chase God together, pray together. And when you do that, he will give you discernment to what battles to fight. He will give you discernment on what words to say. He will give you discernment on what actions to take in your marriage. So putting God first is my best marriage advice, okay? If you don't believe in God and Christ, whatever higher power you believe in, be on the same page with that so you can have internal guidance, all right? So that was What Would the Crew Do? Ask advice. You guys, you can ask me anything. Deep dive, not just about me, but scenarios about your work, what you need to do, whatever it is, or a situation that you don't know what decision to make. Like, we're here for all of that. All right. Or a business idea, whatever it is, we're here for all of that. So you can DM your questions on our Instagram. You can message me on Fanbase, or you can drop it in the YouTube comments, or you can also email thecrewbookclub@gmail.com and just put in the subject title, Ask Advice. Okay, so before we get out of here, I'm going to give you the quote of the week. The quote of the week is, creativity is intelligence having fun. Okay, so take your creativity, be intelligent, and have fun with that. And that quote was from Albert Einstein. Keep it cute, simple, and sweet for y'all, and to the point. All right? I absolutely love y'all, and you guys have an amazing rest of the week. Hey!